Hey, hello YouTube. This is going to be a tag video, and it's an 80s tag video. I was tagged by a great YouTuber called Spectreair, so I'd like to thank him for tagging me. I have seen these tag videos going about, and then I was hoping somebody would tag me because it's a great theme. But if you've not checked out Spectreair's channel, I'd recommend you go and check out his channel because he has some of the best pickup videos on YouTube. I mean, this guy's collection is amazing. He's got a huge console collection, and he just, some of his pickup videos is just, he's got a huge amount of games he picks up, and some really rare stuff, and some older stuff that are really in good condition, boxed Nintendo games, and the boxes look brand new. So I recommend you go and check his channel out. Okay, so the 80s tag, there's 5 categories, and the first category is movies. I've got a few down here. I've got to mention Rocky 3 and Rocky 4. I've watched Rocky 3 and 4, loads and loads in the 80s when they came out. I realise when you're older that Rocky 1 and 2 were actually the better movies, in the sense that they were better acted and better written and had a better story. But when you were young, Rocky 3 was just amazing. Fighting Hulk Hogan, Thunderlips, and having a fight with Mr. T, but 2 fights with Mr. T, because his mind wasn't in the first one because his manager wasn't right, had to come back. And Rocky 4, even Drago, and all that kind of stuff. So I watched them loads. Another movie that I watched, which was really important in the late 80s, because I was 15, and that was The Lost Boys. That was just a classic movie, great music in it, great acting in it. I think when you were 15, you were you were wanting to be a vampire, wanted to be them, because I think the slogan was, they sleep all day, they party all night, they never grow old, never die. I think when you're 14, 15, 16, that just sounded brilliant. That was the best. So, Lost Boys. And one of my favourite movies of all time is this one, Back to the Future. And this is the box set I've got here. This is the box set, which is the 4 discs, and it's got 1, 2, 3 plus an extra one. But the first movie, I love time travel, and I know the story, Disney, too many paradoxes and it doesn't make sense, but it's just a tremendous movie. Great movie, Back to the Future. Favourite TV show of the 80s? Okay, when I was growing up, I loved Green Chill. Right for I think it started in the late 70s, but the time I watched it was probably the beginning of the 80s, and then I probably must have saw reruns with the old ones with Tucker Jenkins when he first started. But I remember watching Tucker all the way through, and then I watched the generation after that, and the generation after that, and I watched Green Chill all the way through the 80s. And another programme I used to watch all the time, and I remember watching every single episode of it, right from the beginning, right to the end. And I used to watch it with my mother, and it was Tenko. And it was about, during World War II, and it was a Japanese prisoner of war camp, and it was a women's prisoner of war camp. And I believe there was 3 seasons of that, and there was a special of that. And I remember I've watched that a few times. I've watched it again on one of the satellite cable channels, and I watched it right to the beginning, right to the end again. So that was one of my favourite. And I know there's so many other good programmes that I could have mentioned, but we could be here all night. Favourite cartoon of the 80s? My favourite cartoon is Dungeons and Dragons. I just loved this cartoon, and maybe if you're not if you're not aware of this cartoon, it was a group of group of youngsters. I can't remember, it was 5 or 6 of them. They go on the roller coaster and they go through a ton of roller coaster ride, and they're transported to this magical world where there's dragons and wizards, and they actually get met by a wee wizard who is called the Dungeon Master, and they've got to find their way home. But on their way home they've got to, you know, solve a lot of, they've got to go on a lot of adventures and help people out. And the programme ran for 27, I believe there's 27 episodes, and it was actually cut before the creator could actually finish it up, so they never ever got back home. A few other mentions that I've got to mention: Battle of the Planets, which at the time when I was young I never knew, but it was a Japanese manga style, but I remember watching it as a youngster growing up. And another one which was actually for younger kids, but I still loved it because it had this kind of weird, trippy, drug-induced feel to it. It's Jamie and the Magic Torch, and it's a British cartoon. So the British folk that are watching this, you'll remember Jamie and the Magic Torch. It's about Jamie. He would go underneath his bed late at night with his torch, go doing this wee helter-skelter and be transported to this strange land where his strange characters are. So that's that. My favourite toy line of the 80s. I'm going to say Subutio, the Subutio line. And that's basically it's soccer, but it's Subutio, so folk that live in the UK, you'll know exactly what Subutio is. You know, wee kind of guys, your whole wee football team on a wee tiny base, and you've got to play football with your fingers and flick it around. The rules are, it's not as easy as that because there's a lot of rules to it, but I used to play this all the time, and I used to go, I remember going out looking at teams and collecting teams, and you had all the different things, to collect footballs, to collect corner flags. Me and my brother actually managed to buy an Astro pitch, and we had a garage at the time, so we were able to get it laid out on a big bit of board, and we had stadiums doing one side, and we had, I remember painting the crowd, so we had that, we had corner flags. You could actually buy different types of goals, World Cup goals, European Championship goals. You could buy different footballs for it, and different teams. So it's a huge, huge line. I mean, I think it's still going now, but it's not as obviously popular. But you know, that can go on way, way before the 80s. But during the 80s, I played Subutio a lot. My favourite game, computer game or console game of the 80s. When I was young, it was the Atari. It was at 2600. And the most amazing game on the Atari 2600 was Pitfall. At the time, I just thought it was a magical game. I never had an Atari, so I only got to play it when I was with my friends. You know, and when looking back now, it's basic, but at the time it was wow. You know, you having to jump across and get yourself on a rope to swing yourself across to get to the other screen, and then jump across crocodiles' heads and what have you. And so that was one of my favourite games. And one of the games that I did have, and we had it a handheld system, tabletop, but that was Pac-Man. I think Pac-Man, playing it in the arcades, playing it in the tabletop game, because we had a wee, like I said, a wee tabletop when we were blind, we would play this all the time. So it's one of the games that I remember in here is the Pac-Man game. So that's my tag finished. I will tag some other people. I'll put it in the description box, and have a look, see who's not been tagged in. You know, so we make sure that you know, I pick people that have not been tagged, so we can get some interesting answers. So thanks again. Catch you next time. Cheers.